Hey everybody, I'm Yvonne Williams with Back to Earth Creations, and in this video I want to show y'all how I make these little implosion beads, which I'm going to be honest with you guys, I'm not very good at, but if I can do it, you can do it. So let's get started. Camera 3, I'm really hoping that between one of these cameras we'll have decent audio. So here's to hoping. Now I'm gonna start with, oof, that needs stirred. Future Vaughn, get ready to edit. So I'm gonna take this tablet so you can kind of see, oof, that's looking rough. It's all sorts of separated out. Woo! And we're just gonna stir this in, scrape in as far in the bottom as we can and all that. So I'm just stirring with one of my mandrels. These are 1/8 inch mandrels, I think, or 3/32. I can't remember off the top of my head, but it just like that. It just takes a bit of stirring. And this is Dip and Go Sludge Ultra Bead Release. I just got stirred up. And then I do like to scrape off the extra, just because you might have like some different cloths and stuff that are less than ideal. And I don't need that full length of the mandrel dip. I'm just going to dip like the top 2 inches. And also we have all of these mandrels over here that are already dipped and completely dried. So I'm going to move them over so that they're easiest to grab, and then I'm going to start loading up our little rack here. Again, I like to dip nice and straight and then put them in, dip and go. Well shoot, isn't that what it's called? That's what it's called, dip and go. Sorry, I didn't get out much, so I think I'm hilarious. So I'm just coming in here, and now that roaring that you're hearing in the background is our ventilation system. We have a CFM, cubic feet per minute, fan. So it's an inline duct fan that moves, that has a CFM of like 1,050 feet per minute, which is only really like a 10 by 10 room or 12 by 12, I don't know. But it's getting pretty decent airflow. To make it better, I would like to put a hood on it, but I can actually demonstrate to you guys here in a sec. I'll light my little sage stick, and that way you can see just how much it's pulling all the vapors and everything out. And that's really important because there are some heavy metals in these glass rods that we're using, some of the colors. And also, granted, I haven't gotten into doing that yet, but fuming with like silver and stuff, that's so dangerous to do in an unventilated area. So at least I'm still a noob, so please educate me down in the comments, politely please. Like, it's never constructive to be like, yo, you dumb. It's like, I know, thank you. I'm glad you noticed. But yeah, let me know what's up down below. Like, what's your experience with your ventilation setup and everything? So let me go grab that sage and get it lit, and I'll be right back. So you can see how it's pulling the flame on my torch. And I don't know if you can see, this camera's getting a pretty good angle. of how it is just pooling. It's very drafty in the room today, but up by where the torch flame is, you can see that is getting pulled right into that vent. So again, this is less than an ideal setup, but it is way better than no setup. So I'm going to put this on the other side of the room so that all those nice, sneaky sage smells can get wafted across me as I work. I love the way it smells. Okay. Pulling my sleeves up just a little bit because I don't want glass falling down into my sleeves. And getting my chair, all my stuff positioned nicely. I have my kiln heated up to 1,000 degrees, which is what I'm just going to sit my beads in at. Got all my mandrels dipped, cool. Getting my stuff situated, cool. Very cool. Let's get lit. Very cool. Okay. So I'm going to take one of the mandrels that we've already dipped, and I'm just coming through now. I think from camera 2 we should be able to see pretty well. So I'm just coming in, and I want to heat up this whole mandrel to like nice and glowing red. The chilly weather today is just perfect for doing some torch work, because I've been doing most of my learning on the torch through the summer, and I'm really glad to be a little chilly today. It makes sitting next to the kiln very pleasant. Okay, so we have that going on, and now I'm going to heat up some clear. I'm going to keep my mandrel towards the end of the flame. And y'all, I'm still very much a self-taught beginner off of this. I've been reading through a couple of books that will be linked down in the video description. Namely, Corina Tettinger's Passing the Flame has been so educational. I've been watching a lot of Jeannie Cox's YouTube videos, and I'm just learning. So I'm probably not doing stuff very good. Like, I'm pretty confident actually that I have so much more to learn that I just wanted to share with you guys my journey, that you don't have to be perfect at this. You don't have to be making perfect beads to enjoy making beads. Like, I am so bad at this and having such a good time. So please, again, politely educate me down in the video description. Constructive criticism is always open. Just if you see that I'm doing something weird, like if you have a way of making glass beads and you're like, hey, maybe try this. Oh my gosh, that'd be so helpful. So just wanted to throw that out there, because I had started learning lamp work, and then the Rona hit. And I meant to go and take some classes, like in person, from up in Kansas City, Missouri. I can't remember the studio name off the top of my head. I just wanted to go and take some classes. And then they were like, nope, can't leave your house. I was like, oh, I guess I'll just stay home. So I want to get some nice long stamens, and I'm using my opaque purple. Again, down in the video description will be like the actual colors that I'm using. I just forgot to look before I started recording, so here we are. Yeah, I have grand ambitions of going to like bead and button shows one day and like taking classes. I just feel like that would be amazing. So I'm doing a dot, taking a tick, like going around a clock, doing a dot, taking a tick, and I come in weird like sideways. So all my spots are always just a little bit off. That's fine. I'm not picky. And now I'm going to come around. I'm going to add a little bit more glass to some of these. So to do that, the glass will always stick to the cooler glass. So if I've got like how this bead here is molten, and then I touch it with cool glass, that's going to, with the cool glass in my rod, that's going to pull it off. Whereas if I come in molten up some glass on my rod, get it nice and soupy, and then touch it to the cooler glass, it's going to stick. So that's a nice way of being able to practice adding or taking away some material on your dots or on your bead. Again, a lot of this is speaking more from theory than from practical practice, because I'm still very, 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 very new at this. I'm just learning all the time. But it helps, personally, y'all, it helps me to learn more thoroughly to teach as I go. So now, melting these guys in, these little dots, I'm going to try to get little like stripes. And my positioning was not very good. So I have this little spatula tool, and I'm going to come in and just kind of try to smush some of these spots a little further apart from each other. So I'm going to heat that up and swoosh, get that getting separated. And yeah, so again, if I'm doing this and making a bead, just imagine how good your beads are going to be when you do it correctly. So it's great, you guys. Okay. And this whole time I've been rotating because gravity, like I work hard, but gravity works harder, y'all. Gravity doesn't stop for anyone. So I'm constantly rotating, getting different sides of my bead into the flame so that it stays nice and heated throughout, like nice and I want that heat evenly distributed. And you can see now that's starting to mellow out a little bit. I'm going to take it out of the flame, not all the way out, but like just like towards the end of the tip. In a lot of the lampworking books I've been reading, there's like 1 range and 2 range and then 3 range. I'm going to be out in the 3. Then I'm going to bring it out even just a little bit further because I want it to cool down a bit more so that my glass will stick to it without distorting my beads, which are already, I'm not going to lie to you, they're already pretty wonky. But I've got my clear rod back in here. Just heating up some generous globs, because I'm going to go and cap over those purple spots that we've already done. And then I'd like to kind of encase them a bit. And then I'm going to be, whenever we remelt that in, it should stretch those dots out into nice little stripes. So we'll see how that goes. And these are going to be some hunky chunky beads, y'all. Like, we're making big boys. Dang, that boy is thick. Sorry. Yeah, we're going to be making some thick beads today. That's cool though. I like a big bead. Nice big focal point. And again, just rotating around. I don't want to start melting stuff in yet because it might distort before everything's finished. So I want everything to distort nice and evenly. So glob, just encasing all of that color. Because this gives it like a really nice lensing effect too. Oof, also, y'all, I've been watching over on Twitch, Firechild Glass. She's on Twitch and TikTok and Instagram and just a bunch of stuff. And, I can't remember their names off the top of my head. Like, I think I can, but I don't want to get it wrong. But, Firechild Glass is the company, though, and y'all should go check them out because I've learned so much just from watching her do her thing, her beautiful artwork. We were actually gifted from some friends, our friends of the World of Strange, our screen written friends. They gifted us a marble from Firechild Glass, and oh gosh, it's goals, you guys. I hope one day to be able to lampwork that well. Just beautiful, beautiful work. So now you can see I've traded hands because my left hand got tired, and I'm just coming through rotating this. I kind of wish I had another lens for this camera over here, which is my tablet. Oh no. But hopefully you can see on the other cameras what's up. And so this size, I'm trying to get all the glass to be nice and evenly distributed. There we go. And so here you can see, am I able to zoom in? Nope. Oh, I just missed my camera. I'm trying to, I hope I don't set myself on fire today, you guys. So I'm going to try to look at the end of my bead and make sure that I'm getting my shape down, because after this initial layer, I'm not really going to be messing about with like getting the whole bead soupy. Like, I want to get a nice shape and then keep it there, if that makes sense. Oof. It's been a minute since I've done this and my hands are cramping already. I think it's the cold too, but I'm starting to heat up. I'm starting to warm up. And I don't want this to get too soupy because I don't want to distort these little first layer of petals that we've done. Yeah, okay, that'll be fine. This looks good. Good enough? Good enough. Okay. Now also, just because I'm a bum, I'm going to be building my bead off to the right because I'm right-handed, and it's just a little bit easier for me to add my beads in that direction, or add my dots in that direction. So, actually, do I have any? No. Okay. I didn't pull any stringer of this lavender color to start with, so I'm just going to be laying globs with my tip like this. So, let's go through. Getting a nice glob going. And I'm just going to touch right there and cut it in the flame. Right there, cut it in the flame. And I like adding these little dots and then pulling because it gives me a little bit more of a tip. Rotating the bead to keep everything nice and warm. Now, the harder I press this rod into the rest of the bead, the more it's going to be like a fat connection. Like, I don't know, I hope that makes sense. So now I'm going to come in, set this on my thingy, and just pressing, I hope that's within frame. I'm heating one little lump up, and then pressing in with this little spatula. You could use, I've seen folks use X-Acto knives. I don't have an X-Acto knife right now over here. I have this thingy, so I'm using that. But I do like to have my graphite marver to resist against. And then I just heat it up nice and piping hot. And then I press and push. And so that paddles it around a little bit into a really nice, oh, these colors are so pretty too. And now I have pulled some stringer of a like pale transparent purple. Again, I'll have the colors all listed down below, and I'm just gonna keep this nice and warm. I think we'll put this right. I'm gonna use this end. And I want to heat up a glob on my stringer. I'm very new actually to using stringer, so I don't feel like I'm very good at it. But again, if I can do this, y'all can do this. So I have faith in all of us, y'all. That it's not gonna be a perfect bead, but it's going to be a pretty bead and it's going to be fun to make. And that's what I'm going for right now, is I want to have a good time and have a pretty bead to show for it. I worry about perfecting my art later. So, okay, I'm going to get these guys melted down. I've already got my clear rod prepped and ready to get heated up into the flame. I really like this clear. It's very gooey. I almost don't want to say it because I don't want to jinx it because it's been really nice, but I have yet to have any of my clear rods be all like popping and weird on me. Okay, so again, I don't want to heat it up so much that I'm going to lose my shaping, but if you heat up that glass and then kind of bring it out of the flame and let it relax, it's just going to be like melting into itself, and that's really, really nice. Okay. Down. The little dots are melted in. it definitely helps when doing this. Like, I'm so glad as a kid I was all like, look what I can do, and like would pat my head and rub my belly at the same time. Like, I'm glad I built up that skill to be able to like multitask with both my hands, because it definitely helps. But if you feel like you're all thumbs, that's okay too. Like this, I don't really feel like this one right here is necessarily a beginner bead. I'm just diving in. But yeah, check out some of the lampwork glass books down below if you're not able to go and take a class, because they can really start you off on like some projects that help you with your technique, help you with, you know, building a foundation and being able to, you know, kind of just baby step your way into making a slightly more complicated bead. Like, you want to start with just making a bead, like just a single color bead on your rod, and become familiar with how the glass likes to behave and become a little less afraid. Like, I'm still scared every time I light my torch. Like, I'm such a dork, you guys. Like, I'm afraid that like 40 years from now, hopefully I'll still be making glass, but I'm still gonna be scared lighting my torch. But I don't feel like blowing up is the thing. Boom. So, trading hands again, and I'm just gonna come through and I'm heating the like center part of my bead, like the equator of the bead, because right now there's a whole lot of material towards the tip of my mandrel. That's it's nice and warm. There's a lot of material towards the tip of my mandrel, and I want it to all get nice and centered up on my bead. So I'm gonna do that, and by doing that, it'll actually stretch the petals and kind of like drag the color and stuff with it. It's pretty neat. Like, glass is so much fun to work with. But for those of y'all who watch my channel and are polymer clay artists, because I know it's been a minute and I've got more lined up, I promise I do, more polymer clay stuff, but it's whenever sometimes you'll put a design into your pasta, like on some clay, and run it through your pasta machine, how it will kind of stretch and distort it. That's kind of what we're doing here, but with glass. So that's a lot of fun, but I am way more material on one side than on the other, so I'm going to be mindful of that as we add in this next layer of petals. And this is going to be all kinds of like weird and distorted, but that's okay, we can do this. Because people who are actually good at what they do can show you how to make one of these beads without messing up. I'm going to show you how to mess up real good and thorough, and how to try to recover from that, because that is my life in lampwork glass right now. It's like, oh lordy, that's rough. I'm gonna see if maybe touching it on the graphite marver will kind of distribute things a little better, maybe. Yeah, okay, so that kept the shape of the top of our bead a little bit more reasonable. But yeah, so I really need to add more glass to what's on the top right now. So I have been doing 5 petals. I'm going to come through and add in an extra petal on that top side, and that's going to help me I'm well aware also, I'm very sorry that I say and and just I'm glad I do that, or I'm not glad that I do that a lot, but I do that a lot, and I'm glad that you guys are merciful, because it is the internet. But I'm going to add in some extra dots, or maybe just like some super big dots. I don't know yet. We'll see. Yeah, let's make them great big. Let's see what happens. And then I'm just going to do them kind of small on the other side. Big dot. And again, the harder you press that, press the rod in, the bigger a footprint that your bead will have. Your little dot. There we go. Okay, so where'd my spatula go? Oh goodness, okay, there it is. I'm gonna heat up that one bead, like that one little spot. I'm gonna set it down, and then I'm gonna press and push, because I really want to give a nice shape to it. And this is giving us a nice little indent. Oh, and I need to reheat that one. That was not very good. It's not what I was going for. Oh, I'm just so slow. And you don't want to let your bead cool down too much either. So let's get it all nice and a warm bath in the flame for our bead. Okay, so I'm going to heat up that one dot. The bigger the dots, the longer they hold their thermal, like, they have more thermal mass going on there, so it gives you a little bit more working time. Woo! I'm all thumbs. It's just, this is also the first time I've gotten video of me doing this technique, where I'm like talking the whole time, and I'm pretty sure I get dumber every time I open my mouth. Sorry. Like, more data is required on that one, but I'm pretty sure it's just my brain, my two brain cells are juggling right now. So just heating up more of this translucent now and doing a little spot, because by doing that little split, it's going to give us a really cool, and I learned this from a Jeannie Cox video here on YouTube. Gosh, she does such good work. But doing that split will pull the color and give you a little bit more depth. So now I'm going to start melting these guys in. Melt, melt, melt. Melt, melt, melt. Making beads. Making beads. Do, do, do. Bringing it out of the flame just a little bit because I don't want to get too soupy. Trading hands. And I know you're not supposed to trade hands that much, you guys, but my thumbs are like cramping turning these rods. So just do your best. That's all I'm doing. Okay. And so now, as we get these dots melted in, keep rotating and kind of look and see how the weight of the bead is distributed, because this is going to help me to know where I need to add some big old hunkin' chunkin' hunks of glass to try to balance this bead back out. Because again, ideally I would have just been good at it and add a reasonable amount of glass right from the get-go, but clearly I ain't about that life. So here we are. So this is the struggle of how to rebalance out one of these beads, because there's a whole lot of hours of practice and study and failure and stuff like this, that it's like, it's not a failure, it's just learning. We're just learning, and that's okay. But there's a whole lot of this that's happening right this second that goes into being able to make a masterful, beautiful, perfect, like symmetrical, like well-weighted bead. So I just wanted to kind of struggle through this with you guys, because you're not alone. If you're out there and you're new, you're not alone. And I also hope that one day I can look back at this video and be like, oh my god, I was so bad. You know, because I'd like to grow as an artist. There we go. Getting some encasing down. Now you'll notice I'm not melting in my glass encasing yet. It's because I want to make sure that I actually have the whole leaf, like petal, covered. Because if I don't, some of that color will float up to the surface. And that's not what I'm looking for. Unless it is. So it's coming through. Again, trying to not heat up the petals that I'm about to lay my glass down on, because again, if the petal got hotter than the glass that I'm encasing with, it's going to stick and distort. And I really hope I'm communicating clearly. Words are hard. It's coming through. Also, I am doing this stuff in real time. That's probably super crazy tedious to those of y'all who find that super crazy tedious. But YouTube has a great option where you can put it to 2 times speed, or you could just skip forward, or you clicked on my face, y'all. So if you're not enjoying my video, thank you for stopping by, but go watch something that makes you happy. Like, I don't take personal offense at all when people are like, this isn't my cup of tea. It's like, I might not be your cup of tea, but I wasn't rude for you, sweet thing. I'm doing me over here, and you do you. There we go. Okay, so I think I did it. I think so. I don't know. I might need to add more glass. Let's add more glass. And once I get little stubbies going like this, what was I gonna say? I'm gonna start using a long rod of clear here in a minute because I want, my fingers are getting a little close to the flame. Okay, that should balance us back out. Let's melt these guys in now. How long have we been recording? Ooh, 32 minutes. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. I'll probably have this edited down a little bit in the final cut, maybe? I don't know, we'll see. Future Vaughn, are you going to edit this? We'll find out. Yeah, so again, I'm focusing my heat on like one glob and then turning it, because as it it'll just kind of melt down a little bit. And I'm also going to be focusing the heat not too much on one side, but towards the center, because I want it to stretch that glass and move the glass around to the middle. I think. Right? Is that how we do this? Oh goodness. I really want to start trying to make some implosion pendants, but I've been having a pretty high fail rate at that so far, so I think I need way more practice on just working with glass. Like, it went okay until I got the bail going. Or rather, failed at getting the bail going, but that's for a different video, I think. So you can kind of see here, hopefully, how it's like melting in each of these little nodules that are the petals. Just slowly, slowly, slowly melting them in. There's no rush on this. As long as you keep your bead evenly heated, so it's not going to be like stress fracturing or anything, there's no rush, y'all. We can take our sweet time. We can take all the ding dong day. And just bathing this bead in the heat, letting it even out. And also, I don't want to be tilted too far one way or the other. I want to keep this pretty horizontal to like gravity. That way the glass will, my bead isn't going to start traveling up or down the mandrel. Now that is something to kind of keep in mind, because you can use that to your benefit for if there's like an effect that you're going for. Okay, I don't want to get it too molten because I don't want to distort too much what's going on the inside. Now I am focusing the heat on one side of the bead to pull it a little bit more over to that side, because the glass is going to travel to where the heat is. At least as far as I understand it. Okay, and I'm going to let this cool down for just a little bit, because again, I don't want to overdo it. And we're going to add in another layer of petals, but I'm about to double up on the number of petals. If we have been doing 5, I'm going to try to get to like 8 or 10, if I can fit it. So I don't know if you're going to be able to see as this cools. Gosh, it's so heavy on that side. Maybe if I heat it up, it'll sag over this way. A little bit, maybe. Okay. So Again, keeping it way out where it's still keeping warm, but I just don't want it too warm. So that's a tricky balance. So I'm heating up our rod of lavender again. And I'm going to come in and spot, cut, spot, and cut. And I'm doing very small dots right now because I can always add more. But I just want to be able to make sure that I can fit all of these new petals. I've lost count. Oh no. There we are. Yeah, not really spaced that great. Oh boy. Okay. Okay. So let's see, how many did I fit? Oh, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, no, I don't know. 9 maybe? Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Did I do 10? Wow. This episode of Can Von Count, she can't. Okay, so now I'm just heating it up, keeping the dots themselves pretty cool because they're actually quite small, and just globbing on some glass, and then cutting it in the flame. I'm going to have to come back to that one, I think. I think those two grew together. Ruh-roh. Ruh-roh. That's okay. Okay, so now from here, we have our spatula. I'm going to start melting these guys in a little bit because some of them look like little tentacles. Which I think that'd be so cool to make like a little octopi. Like little baby octopi or jellyfish even. That'd be really neat. This kind of looks like a little jellyfish. Aww. Now I want to make a jellyfish. I might have to do that, y'all. Okay, so I don't want to melt the dots in. I just want to get them pretty well contacted. Like kind of like little button mushrooms, but without a stem. I hope that makes sense. Okay, so I'm going to heat up one spot and kind of press and smush. Heat up one spot, press and smush. And I think I'm going to go with like opposite sides of the bead. Ooh, come on, we can do this. These are quite small, and this is challenging for me, you guys. A little itchy in my nose. Okay. So it's going to take some practice, and I've got to focus so I can do this quickly. On these smaller beads, I do not have the time to take it all the way to my marker. That's okay though, we can still do this. Last one. Look at us go. There we are. Okay. Sometimes you have to be your own biggest fan. Like, I'm lucky I've got all y'all. So. And now I'm just globbing on some of this purple before the dot heats up so much that I lose that little indent that we made. Like, I want to keep that indent if we can. And I'm probably doing way too much purple right now, but I don't mind. I mean, technically the whole bead is purple and clear, so I can deal. There we go. But yeah, sometimes you have to psych yourself up. Now we can melt it in all the way. And right now I am just having the heat be towards the tip of the bead, because we will train these little petals in when we melt it all in, tapped with the clear. Speaking of which, that rod is put down, so I'm going to set it off to the side, and I'm going to pull myself out a fresh clear rod. And I actually think I'm not going to melt these guys in all the way because I don't want them touching. We actually have these two. They like each other too much. We gotta nip that in the bud. So I'm going to try to heat them up and separate them. Okay. With this little, I really like the spatula. Again, there'll be future Vaughn, please put the links down in the video description. But yeah, hopefully there will be links down in the video description to help y'all in your shopping if you want, you know, if you find any tools that you like. And I am just heating this up. I really hope none of my cameras have died because I haven't checked yet. Oh, for 42 minutes. Okay. So again, you might be able to see here my little nodes are getting a little too hot for what I need to do right now. I want them nice and cool so I can completely encase them and they don't distort. So there's one. I'll flip around to the other side. Encase that feller. Cool beans. And we come back around to this side. Encase that feller. Excellent. Come around to the other side. Just turn. There we go. So I'm gonna encase that guy. You have all the time in the world. That guy. Well, truth is, sometimes you don't have all the time in the world. Sometimes you might be running out of gas, or your cameras are dying, or you have to go make a party, or I don't know. So, but don't rush yourself if you don't have to. Okay, so that guy. I hope I got all of them. I don't know if I got that. I don't want there to be any red in the little dot whenever I encase it because I do not want to distort that petal if I can help it. Okay, so now coming through. Just melting these guys in. I'm going to trade hands again. So you can kind of see here, hopefully, how all those little nodes getting melted in. Just heating up nicely. Bringing it into the heat, back out of the heat. Okay, so we can pull it out and just let them kind of melt in. Patience is definitely your friend. Like if you think you're going slow, go a little slower. At least is what I tell myself, because I always need to slow down with some of this lampwork and stuff. So you can see it's a little bit lumpy and weird, but join the club. So I'm just heating this up. Start rotating it just a bit as it cools and settles. I just want to keep from overheating the bead is my biggest fear. Okay, and I think we could go on for more layers, but I think this is going to be my last layer. We'll add. We might add one more. But this bead's getting pretty big, and my hands are getting pretty tired. And at this point, I don't want to use my marver necessarily to manipulate and to move the glass, because I don't want to distort it if I can help it. I just want the glass to pull it and have it do its thing. Just going to peek in it from the side to see how it's heating and try to get it to even out. Very cool. Wow, that is so lumpy and weird. That's fine though. That is fine. One day, I might never be able to make lumpy, weird beads like this. Like they might all come out perfect. And then what? So we should enjoy our lumpy, weird beads for what they are. In their lumpy and weird perfection. I am going to do one more layer. Because I absolutely love making these beads. So, heating up my lavender. One more time. I'm going to try something. I'm going to try to get a kind of sizable chunk or blob of lavender here on my rod. Because if I am wishing I had pulled some stringer before we got into this. So now I'm just going to touch on the tip and pull. Like so. Woo! There it goes. Okay. Keep our bead warm. I'm just going to set that down for just a minute. Oh, that is so lopsided and weird. Okay. And I'm going to, I don't know if you can see, but I'm just touching with my pliers. I'm going to try to oh god, I wish I had 3 hands. I need my nippers. I don't recommend this at home, you guys, at all. So I'm going to cut this glass right there. Okay. Yeah, don't ever do that, guys. Just pull your stringer beforehand. Okay, but now I've got a bit of stringer on the end of my rod, and now I can heat up and make little petals all day long. Now, once we have that little footprint of the petal down, we can just go through and add more glass to it much more easily with the thicker rod than trying to get that control of the whole big thick blob, you know? Oh, very neat. That is so cool. Okay, I'm really glad we did that. Next time, I'm pulling stringer. Okay, again, I don't want to melt all these guys in. I want to heat. And then press. Heat. And I am going to keep flipping to opposite sides of the bead so that I'm not overheating one side as opposed to the other. I'm going to keep the whole bead from cooling too much, so I'm going to heat. I'm also very hopeful this is actually some decent camera work. I have 3 cameras. Hopefully one of them will catch decent audio. So I'm doing my best, y'all. I hope you do like this video. Be sure to let her know, thumbs up or something, I guess. Whatever it is that currently gets YouTube algorithm to show me some mercy. Okay, so I got all the little petals, and I'm going to come through with another pretty cool stringer of that transparent purple that I really like with this lavender. There we go. Now I also think we probably have some other like ASMR type lampwork glass videos if you just want to zen out and watch some glasswork happen without me yammering through the whole thing. So we do have that on our channel. Though it seems like, I don't know, I really like making those videos. Okay, gonna melt these in. It's a lot easier to encase a very small petal. So I kind of like making these petals nice and small. It's also a lot easier to melt them in too. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and encase these small dots before they risk a chance of growing together, because if we can get a little bit of clear in between them, that'd be super cool. Gosh, it's so dark outside already. Well, I got purple glasses on. It's not that dark outside. Oh no. Okay, so there's 1, 2, we encased. 3, 4, 6. That was 1, 7. 8. 9. Okay, I'm going to check the weight of this and see if I need to add any anywhere. It feels pretty good, actually. Okay, so flipped hands again, and we'll melt these little bad boys in. Y'all, this really would make just a super stinking cute jellyfish. So I may have to experiment more with that. Now these ones I am kind of melting around, just adding the heat. Now I'm always dipping in, trying to keep, all of it warm, but I really am focusing the heat on the bottom of the bead for this one, this layer, because I'd like a little bit rounder of a bead perhaps. And it may help stretch our petals a little more. We'll see. Feels like I can totally turn my torch up. Oh, there's more gas. There's more oxygen. Yeah, that should get the job done faster. Much faster, actually. Not too fast, though. Remember, if you're going slow, go slower. Because I do not want to make this whole bead all soupy. I'm contemplating doing another layer still. This is so pretty. It's so much fun. Like, it's been almost an hour, and this has flown by, you guys. Okay, yeah, I think I'm going to leave it at that. I feel like it's all melted in just as good as we're going to be able to get it. Don't want to make stuff lopsided and weird by trying to show it to the camera, so I'll show you guys what it looks like after the fact. After it's been cooled in the kiln, or annealed and cooled in the kiln. So I put it in the kiln at 1,000 degrees for like an hour and 15 minutes. Just to make sure all those little glass molecules are vibing at the same time. And then I lower it down. I have a brick-lined Paragon Bluebird XL, and so it cools quite slowly. But it lets the beads cool at kind of an even rate, and we have a pretty good, like, I haven't had any of our annealed beads crack on me, so, and not to jinx it, but I think I'm doing it right. Did what the internet told me, and that's the best I've got right now. Ooh-wee. Oh, that's a bead. Alrighty, so I'm letting this cool from orange down, because I want it quite cool, actually. Not so cool that it's gonna crack though. And I'm just gonna bring it in and open up the kiln. So this is what it looks like inside the kiln. Just sitting there. And I've got that closed. And you can see it drops quite a bit, but that's that. Hey y'all, so this is how the two renditions of this bead that I had made came out. One of them I have strung up with a chevron amethyst and a handmade lampwork glass head pin. The other one I have just on a head pin with a round bead and a purple fluorite fluted bead. And just kind of made them into little pendants we're going to have hanging off of just a necklace chain. But I wanted to show you some of the variation. This one came out super lopsided. I don't know if you can tell. It kind of, I don't know if it hides it or shows it off more, that how lopsided it is by having the other bead and bead caps on there. But you can kind of see when it's hanging even. It's just super thick on one side, but I really like the way that the color kind of tapered off into the tip. My layers got a little too close there. I kind of feel like, though I wouldn't mind actually maybe getting very precise and being able to layer lots and lots, because I kind of don't like how much space is right there, but I worry that more data is required. I had a lot of fun making these though. Kind of like the smaller, I just pulling stringer helps a whole lot to be like having a nice pile of all the stringer that you're going to be using for maybe like a couple of beads. Like just at the beginning of my torch work, go ahead and get the stringer pulled, and so I have it to work with. But stringer pulled instead of just using the rod gave me a whole lot more accuracy. It helped the bead move along much more quickly because stringer heats up so fast, whereas with the rod you have to like heat up like a lump of it, and then it's still messy and just everything. So I also think using the stringer, it's applying color but in smaller spots. So that's how I was able to get the much closer petals on these sides. So I am going to be doing more versions of this in the future. And yeah, so if you guys like our work too, be sure to check out, we do weekly shop updates at backtoearthcreations.com. And we also do a monthly live auction here on YouTube. All of our shop updates and auctions will be listed for those of y'all watching in the future. Hey, future people. Will be listed on our website calendar. Also, if y'all are watching this during the premiere, hey, thanks for joining us for the premiere. We do premieres on our tutorials and shop updates now, which is like a live stream in that it has live chat, but it's like our old tutorials in that it's a pre-recorded video. So, which I really like them. Hey guys, thanks so much for hanging out with me during this video. If you have any questions, comments, or ideas, please leave them down below. If you enjoy our free tutorials and would like to support the creation of more of them, as well as participate in our exclusive live streams, giveaways, all sorts of different stuff, please consider joining us over at our Craftalong Club. All the info for that is down below. And we also have newsletters and calendars and all sorts of stuff. Check out our website, backtoearthcreations.com, and we will see y'all in our next tutorial. So until then, happy crafting. Bye.